I want to thank you again for watching another one of my videos and say thank you so much for your continued support. Today, this short video is going to discuss home gardening. I wanted to learn how to garden for a variety of reasons. My main reason is for my continued self-sufficiency and my family emergency preparedness plan. My second reason is because they're putting so many pesticides and hormones and preservatives on the food, and I just want my tomato to be a tomato. But in the process of learning how to garden and research and where to buy seeds and where to buy hybrid seeds, it's overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I feel like the whole process of gardening is overwhelming in the beginning. Now I find that it's much easier, and I wanted to share some of my references and my websites and blogs that I found very helpful, and other YouTubers, their YouTube pages for someone like me who's just starting out in creating their own home garden. So the first resource I found was Square Foot Garden. So I have the book here, The All New Square Foot Garden by Bartholomew. I'm going to hold it up so you can really see it. I absolutely love this book. I love this book. As a matter of fact, I emailed the Square Foot Garden Foundation and asked if one of the teachers, I think her name was Linda, if I'm not mistaken, could participate in one of the Providing Resources for Emergency Preparedness Action Task 9, How Does Your Garden Grow? Events. And she did reply to me and say yes, that she would participate in a prep webinar. So if you're interested in participating in a Square Foot Garden prep webinar with Linda of the Square Foot Garden Foundation, please send me an email at lillian@providingresources.com. Now I want to get more into this book and why I love it. I love the Square Foot Garden book because it's simple and it's easy. The Square Foot Garden book, it really teaches you how to grow food in a smaller space. You don't need a big, huge space to grow food. And it comes complete with instructions. The instructions in the book are absolutely awesome. It talks about, like chapter 3, talks about planting your garden and how you set up your Square Foot Garden, the materials you need, you see that picture down there, to grow your Square Foot Garden and protecting your garden. In my yard, I have a rabbit problem, a really bad rabbit problem. So helping me build these cages and things like that, absolutely awesome. Here it is again. I'm going to try to put it up so you can see it clear. The cages for the Square Foot Garden. Can you see that? Okay, awesome. So trellises and things like that, I find this to be so helpful. So I highly recommend the Square Foot Garden book. Another reason I love the Square Foot Garden book is because you don't need a lot of space. You can grow more in less space. And when you use the grid, you can grow more, and it even talks in here about crop rotation to really show you how to rotate your crops and plant spacing and how far apart you need to put your crops. I'm going to show you this here. This particular page right here, I'm going to get a little closer to the camera. Hopefully that comes out pretty clear. How far apart you need to plant your crops to grow. So I found this book to be very helpful. Again, that's the All New Square Foot Garden by Bartholomew, and I love this so much that I asked one of the Square Foot Garden Foundation people to participate in the prep webinar. So I'm going to move on so I can get through this quickly. I found another book because I want to grow my garden organically. I don't want to use a lot of pesticides, so that was something I had never done before. I had never grown a garden, so I found this other book. And the thing that I love about this book, Organic Gardening, it's really a practical guide for planning and maintenance of your garden. and they have lots and lots of step-by-step photos and diagrams. It covers the basics of gardening technique, soil care, all that stuff you need, watering, feeding. One of the things I didn't know as a person who lives in the urban jungle of the Twin Cities is that you just don't take seeds and throw them in the ground and hope something pops up. You really have to know how to care for your plants, your vegetables, and your seeds. One of the things I really have learned from this book in particular is that some plants require full sunlight, others don't. So you have to plan your garden for the plant you plan on planting, and if they need full sunlight, you need to put that plant or that garden or that square foot garden in a spot that gets full sunlight so that plant can grow properly. So I really like this book. It's called Organic Gardening, and it's by Christine and Michael Laver. So you can find that. And I also got this book on the bargain section at Barnes & Noble's. So this book cost me $4.95. I thought that was a great buy. The next book I have here, Gardener's Handbook. And I love this book because it really, really gets down into some of the things about when to plant, how to plant, when to plant, your zones, how to, pest control was another thing, how to divide plants, cutting of fruit trees, semi-right cuttings, all the things that you don't know growing up in the city. You know, we're so detached from our food. For me, food comes from Cub Foods and Rainbow. Or Simon Delivers if that's what I choose to do. I've never taken on the task of growing my own food, and I didn't know that it was a process to growing your food. And in the process of learning about gardening and growing food, I have a new respect for farmers. So that's another book. I'm going to put that up again so you can see it. The Gardener's Handbook. And it has, before I put it down, you'll see that this book is full of great photos. And, you know, I'm a reader. I can read. But also, what does done look like? This book is very good for helping with that. It shows me what done looks like. And for someone who's never gardened before and don't know the steps of growing, one of the things I learned from this book is that when you plant onions, the leaves should die before you harvest them. Now, see, I would have thought that the plant was bad. See, something I learned. So that's another book. And I also bought this one at Barnes & Noble's for $4.95. All of these books I'm going to show you, except the Square Foot Garden, I got in a bargain section. Another book, the Practical Gardener's Encyclopedia. This book also came out the Barnes & Noble bargain section, but this one was $6.95. Still a good price for a great book. And this book is detailed. It talks about not only vegetables, but garden beds. I'm finding that some plants, some flowers are beneficial to plant with vegetables because it helps them grow better. So as a newbie, I didn't know those things. So this book, The Practical Gardener's Encyclopedia, I'm going to put it in front of me for a temporary moment. It was very, very helpful in me learning how to garden. And again, it comes with the flowers. It only talks about flowers, but it talks about trees. It talks about plants. Again, how the plant grows, what it looks like, watering schedule, caring for your garden, maintenance, weeds. And then that was the other thing that I really struggled with. What is the plant and what is the weed? So am I pulling, when I go in to weed my garden, since I've never gardened before, am I pulling up weeds or am I pulling up my actual plant seed that grows that way? So if you don't know those things prior to gardening, these are some good reference books. I also have three more actually, short books I want to show you. Container Gardening.